Greetings, family. Peace, love, and positive thinking. This is Guru, and welcome to my channel. Today's vlog is about Ohio being at the epicenter of heroin epidemic killing thousands. Adam Conkley held out the tip of his middle finger to reveal a tiny circle of black tar heroin. He'd scoured trash bins, collecting cans for a couple of hours on a sweltering summer afternoon just to earn $8 to buy this heroin, just shy of a dime or $10 worth.
I'm collecting cans, so I can go get me some heroin.
When we first got together, I had never done anything. My whole family, my mom, my aunts, my uncles, they all grew up on Chicago Avenue in Chicago. And they were all hookers and selling drugs and all that. So I always said my whole entire life that I wouldn't do the same thing. And I was probably about 27 before I started my first drug. And that was with him.
My brother and one of his friends smoked one, and I wanted to try it too, and I told her she didn't want to, and I got me some money, and I'm getting ready to go to my dealer's house and get me some heroin. Other stuff, because that stuff costs too much money. They want $20 for what you pay for 10. And don't give you nowhere near the amount.
Did you get the straw?
Oh, and then there's some bikers in there. It dissolved completely, and then snorted up my nose.
Here, you go ahead and do it.
And as you can hear, family, and as you can see from this video, they definitely have a problem. I'm speechless in a sense because I have really no concept of heroin myself, no experience with it, thank God. None of my family members, thank God. And really no one black or African American that I know use heroin. So I've heard it a lot with Europeans or white Americans, but I don't know any black people who use it myself personally. So I was kind of dumbfounded and I kind of perplexed watching this. Anyways, we got a chance to see in this video how Conky, that's his name, what a name, but Conky, he 39, placed the piece resembling a watermelon seed on the bottom of a natural light beer can he'd stashed in some weeds next to a white garage in a Franklinton alley. He cut the heroin in half with a pocket knife and added a few drops of bottled water to one piece, using his middle finger to dissolve the drug. He brought a short red straw up to his nose. And the video shows that, by the way. A long sniff, then a shorter one, and the liquid was gone. Conky was on his way to another high. He reserved the other half of the heroin for his girlfriend, Natasha Long, who quickly snorted the drug. And as you can see, she is right here doing just that. Now, I wonder if they had called the police during the segment of doing this story. I wonder if these white television crew members called the police to make sure that they were arrested right away or shortly after doing this. I have to wonder about that, because you know, if they were black people doing this, they would have definitely had called the police to make sure that they were picked up and arrested, right? So I'm hoping that that's the case with this couple as well. If the police claim they don't know who she is, well, her name is right there, Natasha Long. She snorts heroin. The 39-year-old and her boyfriend scour trash and work small jobs to get the money to get high. They don't have custody of their 4 children. And listen to that. Now, white people who get on black people's channels or African American channels, and you guys are trolling us about single parent homes and black mothers in particular, and especially some of you, as many of you now, dark-skinned coons out there who are siding with white supremacy. When you are out there denigrating and talking down and talking bad about black women and how they're not successful mothers, I want you to keep in mind this mother right here, it clearly says they don't have custody of their 4 children. So now I have to wonder who's taking care of the kids, whose responsibility that they dumped that onto. These so-called responsible parents out here collecting cans so they can have a $10 fix. Who's taking care of Johnny and Susie and Bobby and Mary? Who's taking care of them kids? But I digress. Kunke and Long are among an estimated 435,000 Americans who regularly use heroin, nearly triple the number who used in 2007, according to 2014 figures from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Well, the DEA, I don't believe that they have their facts or their figures properly calculated. There's so many users, I'm sure, that are not calculated in their findings. We know that their findings are never correct. Look, they couldn't even figure out the Million Man March, how many people were there, the first one that Louis Farrakhan pulled. You know, there was all kinds of numbers thrown out there. They can never get their numbers together. So all of a sudden you want to believe their numbers, their statistical numbers and so-called facts. No, these are guesstimates. That's what they are. They're guesstimates. But I digress. Quote, "It's the devil," Kunke said. There he goes, blaming it on somebody else, blaming it on something else. So he blames the devil. "It's the devil," he says, as the couple began the 20-minute walk back to his cousin's backyard and the tent they call home. Quote, "Leave it alone. It's not worth it. You'll piss your life away," unquote. Well, at least they figured that much out. I guess when you live in the backyard of your cousin in a tent that you call home, you've nailed it. Anyways, this article, going back to it, every day, 78 people in the United States die from an opiate overdose, 29 of them from heroin, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's more than 10,500 deaths a year attributed to heroin and more than 28,000 deaths from opiate overdoses. The number of fatal overdoses in Ohio that involve heroin has soared from 87 in 2003 to 1,424 last year. It was a factor in 47% of all fatal overdoses, higher than any other drug. Did you hear that? Higher than any other drug. The number of Ohioan deaths rise to 2,590 when other opiates are considered. This includes prescription pain medications and fentanyl, a drug often mixed with heroin that is 30 to 50 times more potent. And family, here is a snapshot of a graph that they've used for the overdose deaths in Ohio. Overdose deaths caused by opiates, and specifically heroin, have risen dramatically since 2003. Those are the numbers that I previously spoke about. And as you can see from this graph, it is a fact. They wanted to list here that individual drugs do not add up to the total deaths because more than one drug was listed for the cause of death in some cases. That's exactly why I say that their numbers are not totally accurate. And they have to state as much on this graph as well. Sound the alarm. Okay, the numbers alarm authorities who see the effects of heroin addicts, from treatment professionals to police officers. They've made great efforts to slow the growth of heroin overdoses and addiction using education, enforcement, and other tools. Still, the crisis continues. Heroin's grip can be seen in many areas. Ohio's child protection system now has close to 14,000 children in custody. That's an increase of nearly 13% since the end of 2012. At the same time, the hospitalization rate for babies born with symptoms of drug dependency has soared. Also, because of the high death rates, many in law enforcement now carry naloxone. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. A life-saving drug that helps counter overdoses. So now law enforcement carry this drug to it's a life-saving drug to help counter overdoses. That's interesting because now the police are doing something to help the situation. Officers send out public service warnings when bad heroin hits their streets, and they're focused as much on intervention as arrests. The next point, even when addicts are ready to seek help, they often can't find a treatment center that has room for them. In 2014, just 13.9% of Ohioans who needed drug treatment received it. Parents of heroin addicts struggle to help their children, and in the case of fatal overdoses, parents struggle with how to cope. And in 2014, Ohio reported more drug overdose deaths than any state except California, according to data from the CDC. That is amazing. Quote, "We are in the midst of an unprecedented epidemic of drug addiction and overdoses," said Dr. Teresa Long, Columbus Health Commissioner. Quote, "It is touching many people's lives in so many ways, in ways that I would not have expected." Unquote. And here is where our doctors come into play, infiltrating our streets with drugs too. The ones that have degrees that they boast and brag about. You know, the ones that drive Mercedes-Benz and BMWs, and they go around bragging about their education and all the degrees they have on their walls. Yeah, well, because of the pill mills, clinics where doctors overprescribed highly addictive opiate-based painkillers, the traffickers built an amazing business from 2000 to 2002, Kuonis said. When law enforcement agencies cracked down on the pill mills, the street price of the drug skyrocketed, giving heroin, a much cheaper opiate, a foot in the door. Dealers delivered it just like pizza, and often for a cheaper price. Quote, "You have a guy that carries it in a bag in his car, and people are blowing up his cell phone. Hey, can you meet me?" said Detective Larry French of the Westerville Police. "They might pull up next to each other on the neighborhood corner or in a McDonald's, Major or Kroger parking lot and make a quick cash for drugs exchange." As for Conky and his girlfriend Natasha, well, about an hour after getting high on heroin, Adam Conky and Natasha Long share some snacks in the tent they call home in Franklinton. They usually get high twice a day. I wonder if the police ever made it over there to go and, say, arrest them. And maybe their cousins too, who are abating them, having them live in their backyard in a tent. I wonder. Well, no, because they're white and they get the white privilege. They get the stay out of jail card, while they go and try to find black people who do little trivial breaking of the law, and then they say, see how all you black people are all locked up, while you guys get to stay in tents and wait, go searching for cans during the day and get your $10 fix. Now check out this nice wholesome family. Don't they just look great? Well, let's see what happens here to them. Well, Chastity Troyer, became addicted to pain pills after a 2005 car crash. From there, she turned to heroin, spending hundreds of dollars a day at the peak and losing custody of her kids. Well, now this picture, if I had an ink eraser, I would blot out the 3 little kids and then I would just put her, but I don't have that, so just improvise. And family, this article is long, so I'm just going to end it off where it ends. And if you care, you can research more information about it. I can tell you this, that when I did a search on heroin on Google, I was amazed at all the articles today as a matter of fact, that are relevant to this problem. And our media is not talking about it as much as they probably should. And maybe because right now it's hitting the suburbs so bad, they just don't want to have egg on their face. But I digress. I'm going to get to this part. Programs that work can be replicated and used to fight not only heroin use, but also fentanyl use and whatever is next in the drug pipeline. That's interesting that they would word it that way. But let me just say this. You guys should have had programs in place when African Americans were going through crack cocaine. You know, the ones that the CIA and the FBI infiltrated into our communities, into people of color communities. Yeah. Instead of infiltrating them into our communities, you guys should have been developing these programs, or better yet, not infiltrate drugs into our communities to begin with. So I end this article with, quote, "We're not going to turn this drug epidemic around quickly, but we know we can save lives," DeWine said. Quote, "We'll probably always have some drug problem. If it's not this, it'll be something else. The question is, how do we save lives?" I tell you, you know what? Here's the deal. You're really more concerned because it's now hitting people like this. Because whenever drugs are start attacking you guys, that's when you start getting serious about programs and you start looking at solutions. And it's a little late. You guys have a major problem now that you're going to have to deal with. And this is like the chickens coming home to roost. Or, if you want to look at it another way, karma. Karma for all that you guys have done with drugs and pushing them into our communities. It's come now to bite you in the face. Literally. Because one of the people who was on one of these bad drugs actually did that, I believe. So family, now I bring you over to one of my, someone who I am subscribed to. His name is Harvey. He goes by Mr. Superboy 223. He did a vlog on heroin addicts caught and people are mad. It happens to be this couple who I also put a picture of, where they were caught in their car with a kid in the back seat, and they look wasted. And as a matter of fact, when I decided to do this article on this heroin situation, this Epicenter in Ohio, I didn't know at the time that this couple too is from Ohio. So what a coincidence. But I bring this out to say this was a good vlog by my friend here, Mr. Superboy 223. I watched the whole vlog. I gave it a thumbs up because that's what it deserved. But he mentioned a few things that I thought was so on point. And so if you get a chance to check it out, please do me the favor and check out his vlog too. And you'll get a little bit more information on the whole heroin thing. And as a matter of fact, the article pertaining to this couple directly. Okay? So family, I hope you like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please give me a thumbs up. Thanks again for watching. This is Guru. Peace, love, and positive thinking. Peace out.